My name is Ching. I am from the Vietnam National University's Ho Chi Minh City system. It's one of the two Vietnam National University system, one in the north and one in the south. So my name is Ching, and here we have some of my colleagues from at the system level and at the department levels. We also have Dr. Ho, our CDIO advisor from CSU. So Vietnam National University began with the CDIO implementation just last year. So we use this opportunity to introduce you our experience of first year of implementation. So firstly, we would like to give you the brief introduction to our model framework for implementation of CDIO, and then we would like to share our lesson we have learned, the challenges we are facing, and the policies we have developed to promote the implementation of CDIO, and our evolution in process, and the initial results we have obtained. Because you know, we are a developing country, and we just interned to the WTO in the 2007. So we are in process of integrating into global economy. So we face with the challenge of training of skilled labor force, and this requires us to improving the whole education system, and especially the higher education, to meet the society. And we, as the one of the national university system, so we have the mission to be the pioneer in many education initiatives. And one the key initiative is to adopt and adapt CDIO implementation to build the general model framework, to not only to expand the CDIO implementation within our system, but to widespread CDIO implementation in the national level. So for this, the long-term goals, our model is organized in 3 stages. Now we are just only at the first stage. So for the first stage, we intend to implement CDIO just in only in several potential departments we call strategic departments, and then for next we will use this pilot implementation to make the generalizable model in order to expand the CDIO implementation. Last year, in 2010, our 2 departments began and have succeeded in applying CDIO syllabus, CDIO standards to build their learning outcomes and to redesign the existing curricula. I think maybe for you, for your university, it is normal, but for us, it is a very big change. It's actually cultural and organizational changes. So in order to implement CDIO successfully, we pay the most attention to use the CDIO successful factors. Yeah. So we think the 3 factors we emphasize on. The first is the creating motivation, and for this we focus on the academic activities. With these activities, we brought out the roles and the responsibility of the stakeholders. Yeah. And we also invited many CDIO experts. Here we have Dr. Ho Next, we have Dr. Peter Gray, and last month we invited Professor Ed Crowley also to come to our university to talk to the industry, to get them involved in our process. And we also send our staff, faculty member and staff member to attend regional and international conferences and workshops. To promote involvement and ownership, here we pay attention at two levels, at the system level and also at the university and department levels. And I think the first one, we understand that in order to implement CDIO successfully in Vietnam, we not only have to learn experience from overseas CDIO collaborators, but we have also to share our experience within our system and with another Vietnam university. So please.
Yes, so next we talk about the policy support that has been done to exchange. And by the way, when you looked at a project like of this order of magnitude, you guys can hear me back there, right? Yeah.
No, this is for recording.
This is for recording. I'm recording now.
You're being recorded. So,
I'll put it here. Is it okay here?
that's fine.
Yeah, just
Yeah, it's good. Okay. Yeah, when you looked at an order of magnitude of this problem, when you try to promote changes at system level, you really need to have a lot of factors working for you. In particular, you have to have a very good vision and a plan. So our approach to this is to set up what we call a 7-year project. Right? It's very intentional that people understand it's going to last on 7 years and that there will be policy support along the way to make sure that you're going to go through that 7 years. And our rationale for 7 years to make sure we get one cohort of students to go through the curriculum, and then we're going to follow them into the industry to actually see if our products actually have produced the kind of impacts that the industry is looking for, just like the kind of thing you were talking about. So, the financial support is committed for those 7 years. We have submitted proposals to the government. Within each member university, there's also the funding committed to support that 7-year project. And one of the key difficulties that we have in Vietnam is the faculty workload. It turns out that, and if any of you go to Vietnam and talk to the faculty members over there, you're going to find it very fast that they make 30% of their income inside the university and about 70% outside of the university, right? So it's a very different structure than what we have in the Western world. And certainly, it's not a feasible thing to do to ask them to carry the extra workload of doing CDIO, as some of you who are implementing, you know how time intensive it can be to do that on the top of their normal responsibility. So it's pretty clear that with the funding that we have sort of really buy out their time, right? So doing this kind of activity would be a substitute for your normal teaching load. And we also have produced a number of policy support, for example, recognizing that when you write a paper on education, engineering education at the university level, it would be recognized as if you were to write a paper on your research area. But we still have to convince the national level that would be acceptable. So it's not a challenge to count. And then there's also, the emphasis on creating a center of excellence for CDIO implementation. And this is an issue where we have to sort of develop in-house experts. The very people who do CDIO now have to turn out to be the expert who will turn around in the future years to propagate these ideas to other departments within the university. So you're almost thinking about you have to train your own people and they're going to become trained trainers, right? So that's the model approach that we do right now in order to create a sustainable model. Otherwise, you cannot, bring an expert every time to do this. So our two departments, unfortunately, they carry that burden of being the models, right? The pilot implementation program in order to do this. And some other interesting, the issue we have also is from a policy point of view. It turns out that right now in Vietnam, at a lot of universities, professors are just given the syllabus and some kind of topics to teach. And there's a large degree of flexibility or freedom in terms of how they teach it, what they specifically choose to teach. And there isn't a mechanism to actually go through rigorously, examine what they teach, what are the teaching methods they use, what are the assessment mechanisms. And so to reinforce that, we actually right now put in standard and uniformity in the way that we do curriculum. So actually looked at the syllabus. The syllabi that we're creating right now, they're pretty long. They're 5 pages. You would imagine we would integrate the learning outcomes. You take the CDIO syllabus, right? We would integrate the learning outcomes all the way to the 3rd level. So that's why, and then we actually put through what are the learning outcomes for each lesson, right? And that makes it pretty long. But again, what it does is enforce a sense of consistency and uniformity. So anybody teaching it, they would have to, make sure they hit those learning outcomes and use those rich teaching and learning methods. And Peter Gray is going to help us furthermore develop an assessment toolbox to go along with each of these syllabi. Right? This is very unconventional, but I think it's really necessary to bring about the changes that we need. And then the institutionalization part that's happening right now, we are going to, start the implementation this fall with the introductory course, Standard 4, in the IT department, 600 students, right? And then the Mickey department, like 100, 200 students. So it's quite in a very high order of scale, both at the system and also at the member university level. So there's also an emphasis making sure that we create an alliance within the department and promote the CDIO. And one of the areas that we're working very hard right now is to engage the industry involved in this process. So they was a very important partner in refining and creating learning outcomes, and we continue to work on this. And the idea of holding the workshop is very important because we holding the mission of disseminating the result to the entire nation so that our university can learn and take what we learn and actually implement it, and would not have to go through what we have. So I'm given the amount of time we have left, I'm just going to have a couple of slides here to show you that these are the kind of things that we've done. We also have a poster session. Is it later today thing? Or on the first, specifically in the area of IT later today. So these are the survey that we've done. We've done also compile a number of learning outcomes. For example, in IT department, we have like 97 learning outcomes. And you're going to see in things, poster, that we reorganize the syllabus into 6 different sections. Because the CDIO syllabus has only 4, so we actually have to 6. And that means we really have gone out of our way to adapt it to our particular needs, right? And done a lot of ITU and left box it. You should see the number of Excel sheets and so on that was set up in order to accomplish this task. So in conclusion, I just want to have a few concluding remarks here, especially I think for some university. We have seen that in our first year, one of the things that we're very happy with is the shift in the faculty cultures, the way they approach teaching, the way they approach student learning. And I think somewhere, I've been saying this all along to all universities in Vietnam, that we sort of go through, it's certainly a change process, right? But I've been saying it's a spiritual journey, right? Because the organizational changes are the kind of things you can see, right? Changes in courses, changes in lesson plan, changes in institution, but the kind of things that you don't see, but you can feel, right? Those are the culture changes, right? And it takes, I think, a tremendous amount of courage for faculty members to change their teaching method, to switch to a new way of doing things. And I think similarly, we're going to be excited to see how the students are going to respond to that. I'm sure we're going to get both positive and negative responses like you got at the school, but that's certainly that we're looking forward to see it. I mean, I certainly implemented in that California in my school, and we're looking forward to see it here in at VNU National University. So the next step for us, obviously, we have an assessment evaluation component wrapped around this thing, both from the member university, also at the system level. We do this year by year. And these are really important evidence that we would need 7 years later when we have an accreditation body to come by. We actually show them here are the incremental changes and how do we use the data as evidence to allow us to move along the trajectory of each year.
Thank you.